Hi everybody! Today, one bug fix and 2 new plugins. So first the bug fix. And this is about the TUKAN, where if you used a hardware controller to control the elements of the plugin, that just worked on the graphics but didn't change the sound. So that of course was not intended and is fixed now. So let's get to the plugins. And here I have something special today for you, and this is the song Perfect by Bo Danerius. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He's a Swedish musician and a member of our Discord server, and he was too kind to give me the tracks of his song, so I can show you some things that I did about that. But first let's hear a few bars of that song.
There's flakes on your t-shirts from the big chocolate bar. You down in 1 minute while I got one bite.
Let's hear what I did about this lead vocals thing. And this is the plugin chain where we see some plugins, and 2 of the plugins are not enabled yet. So let's see from the bottom to the top what we had there. This is a reverb for the vocals and a compressor, the Varibus compressor from last video. Then there is the orange EQ, which is not doing too much. It's just a high pass filter and, well, a filter that I would call a denoiser. And before that we have the Lime de-esser. And we need this Lime de-esser because of the plugin that is set before that plugin. And this is not the EQT-1A, it is the EQT-2Kan. And this is one of the new plugins. For all who are not familiar with these kind of plugins, it obviously features the features of a pull-take equalizer. If I may call it so, it has 3 sections. And this is the low frequency section where we can choose a frequency and don't take these numbers too serious. We'll see why soon. And we can boost this low frequency section and we can attenuate the low frequency section at the same time. So they will fight each other, and we'll have a look at this soon. So this is the high frequency boost section where we can select a kilohertz or kilocycles in this case, but it's the same frequency, and we can choose the bandwidth from sharp to broad, and we can just boost but not attenuate. And the third section is just an attenuation for high frequencies, so it's a kind of a high shelf which can only set to negative values. So the higher you turn this attenuation knob, the more of attenuation from this high shelf you will get. And here you can choose the frequency for this high shelf. And then we have this output knob, which is just for gain staging. So it's the general output of this plugin. For all who wonder why I didn't leave the EQT-1A, which was kind of the same plugin from the, let's call it Series 1, but not Series 2. Well, this plugin now features all the features of the Series 2 set, so it's scalable, it has these processing on playback, recording and stop options, and grouping and scaling, as I just said, and the quick link options, and automation support, and oversampling support, and everything we want to have in Series 2. But now let's hear the difference it makes.
There's flakes on your t-shirt from the big chocolate bar. There's flakes on your t-shirt from the big chocolate bar.
So we can tell there's a huge difference. I set that up to emphasize this directness of these vocals. The recording itself is completely okay, but I wanted it to be more direct and low end, but without being boomy, and crisp without being with aggressive highs. So let's have a look at the EQ curve, shall we? And here we can see what the plugin is actually doing. So it's boosting a bit of the lows, and then it makes a upsense filter around, what is it, 400 Hertz. and then a constantly rising filter for the high shelf boost. Well, and that is the result for what I dealt in here. So for all who are not familiar with these kinds of equalizers, let's take a look at the low frequency thing. So I set all the filters to that they don't do anything. And while I did so, you'll recognize that we have a roll off here of the highs at about, what is that, 16K to 20K. And this is an anti-aliasing filter, because the plugin has a built-in oversampling if it runs at single sample rates such as 44.1 or 48K. And as soon as you run it at higher sample rates, in case of oversampling, in case that your project has a higher sample rate, this automatic oversampling will turn off. This oversampling is needed for filter decramping, of course, and the original unit is a tube equalizer, so we have a bit of saturation in the plugin, and the oversampling is also used for anti-aliasing. So okay, let's get back to the low frequency thing we wanted to have a look at. So if I attenuate now at 20 Hertz, you can see, well, that's not really an attenuation at 20 Hertz here, because 20 Hertz is somewhere down here. And we have attenuation at 100 Hertz and still at 500 Hertz. So that really reaches out in the mid frequencies. And if I now use the boost, you see we have a filter that reaches out in the mid frequencies as well. And these attenuation and boost go higher and higher as I increase this cycles per second thing. So it's not 30 Hertz or 60 Hertz, it's just what the knobs are labeled. But if we take a closer look and imagine this curve going downwards, we recognize it's not just like this curve, because the boost is set in a lower frequency range, or at least it doesn't reach up as high as the attenuation knob. So if I let them fight against each other, you see that we have now more boost in the low, because the lower frequencies are more affected from the boost, and the mid frequencies are more affected from the attenuation. And that's one thing why people like this kind of equalizers, because you can really have a wide filter in the lower mids to, in a way, demud, if you want to call it like this, the mids, and then you can choose from the cycles per second which mids you want to attenuate this way, and you have a nice gentle boost of the lowest below that mid-frequency range. So let's turn off these filters again and have a look at the high-frequency filters, where we can see, well, it boosts, it looks like a high shelf, which is cut then by this anti-aliasing filter. Actually, we see it's a bell-shaped filter. Well, and if you imagine this filter was not cut on the right side by the anti-aliasing filter, and imagine this would go like this, you'd see, well, these filters are actually decramped. So we can choose our boost amount and how sharp the bell should be, or how broad the bell should be. So this is a nice way to boost highs in a very pop music-like way, and you don't have to use exciters for that. And for the completeness, let's have a look at the high attenuation, which I didn't use in this song, which is, as I said, a roll-off or a high shelf that attenuates your highs. And you can see if I take 10 kilohertz, well, it goes down to 1 kilohertz. So it's just the knob labels again. So again, for all who are not familiar with these kinds of equalizers, they're really great for shaping your sound and having what you basically need on many tracks, which is maybe a bass boost and a demudding thing, and well, some high frequency phasing, and on this attenuation band, an upsense filter. So let's hear it again. First I bypassed only this plugin, and I play back some of the vocals, and then we hear the same part with the plugin on.
There's flakes on your t-shirt from the big chocolate bar. There's flakes on your t-shirt from the big chocolate bar.
And now you know why I used this de-esser directly after this equalizer, because it has this heavy high boost here, which is nice on the vocals if there are no S's. But if there are S's, they are turned down to where they were before by this Lime de-esser. So maybe same game, but now together with the music, so in context.
There's flakes on your t-shirt from the big chocolate bar. You're down in 1 minute while I got one bite. We're rewatching Fallon and drinking Merlot.
So, okay, I confess this was a lot talking about this equalizer. Let's get to the next plugin. And this is the Bus Compressor Series 2. So yes, basically it is inspired by the famous bus compressor. And you can set that to stereo. So, well, you can ignore the right side and left side are always the same, as you can see if I turn some knobs here. And I have a drum in this song. And, well, I just did something here. Let's hear how it sounds. So we have the usual controls like threshold, ratio, attack, release, makeup, gain, and detection high pass filter. We can bypass this thing, and we have this link master thing to match the left and the right side of the plugin. And it features a sidechain input key. And in addition to this regular bus compressor stuff, it has 2 more options. So it's not only a stereo compressor, you can use it in dual mono, where the left channel and the right channel are processed independently. So I can do different settings on the left and the right channel, which could sound like this. Or I use one channel as link master, but still these left and right channels would be processed independently. And then there is this mid and side mode, where the left side of the plugin would compress the mid channel, where the right side of the plugin would compress the sides channel. And yes, I don't want this video to become too long. So try the plugins yourself, have fun with the plugins, and bye bye.